Good class, let's begin our lesson. First, we'll cover the first unit, introduction. The objectives of this introduction are 1. To understand the relationship between Chinese medicine and traditional Chinese culture.
2. To understand the formation and development of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine.
3. To be familiar with the basic content of the fundamental theories of Chinese medicine. 4. To grasp the medical model of Chinese medicine. 5. To grasp the basic characteristics of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. First, let's talk about the first topic, Chinese medicine and its theoretical system. Topic 1. Medical science and Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine belongs to the field of medical science. So, what is medical science? Medical science is a scientific system that studies the human life process and the prevention and treatment of diseases. It is an integrated discipline combining natural and social sciences. In our country, there are two medical systems, traditional medicine and modern medicine. Traditional medicine in our country is represented by Chinese medicine, in addition to Tibetan medicine, Mongolian medicine, Uyghur medicine, and other ethnic minority medicines, which all fall under the category of traditional medicine. However, both domestically and internationally, it is generally acknowledged that Chinese traditional medicine is represented by Chinese medicine, so we use Chinese medicine as a synonym for Chinese traditional medicine. Modern medicine typically refers to Western medicine, which is established based on European culture, in contrast to Chinese medicine, which is rooted in Chinese traditional culture. What is Chinese medicine? Chinese medicine is a comprehensive discipline that focuses on the theories and practical experiences of Chinese medicine to study the laws governing the transformation of health and disease in human life or activities, as well as their prevention, diagnosis, treatment, rehabilitation, and healthcare. This definition encompasses several essential elements. First, Chinese medicine is an integrated discipline that fuses natural and social sciences. Second, it is based on the theories and practical experiences of Chinese medicine, and its research content includes human life activities, the laws governing the transformation of health and disease, as well as their prevention, diagnosis, treatment, rehabilitation, and healthcare. After extensive research, the academic community has arrived at this definition of Chinese medicine. This definition method is also used to define the content of Chinese medicine in our textbook. Topic 2. What is the theoretical system of Chinese medicine? 1. What is a scientific theoretical system? Chinese medicine is a science, so let's first discuss what constitutes a scientific theoretical system. A scientific theoretical system is a complete system composed of three basic knowledge elements: basic concepts, basic principles or theorems, and specific scientific laws. What is the theoretical system of Chinese medicine? The theoretical system of Chinese medicine is constructed based on its basic concepts, knowledge, and principles following the logical framework of Chinese medicine. How is it constructed? It uses the ancient Chinese philosophies of materialism and dialectics, namely Monism and the theory of yin, yang, and five elements, as its scientific methodology. It adopts a holistic concept as its guiding principle. It centers on the physiology and pathology of the Zhangfu organs and meridians, and it features syndrome differentiation and treatment as its diagnostic and therapeutic characteristic. To summarize, the theoretical system of Chinese medicine can be understood as follows. This system is constructed using ancient Chinese philosophies of Kai, Yin, Yang, and the five elements as its natural view, medical view, and methodology. 2. What are its basic medical concepts? These are its guiding principles, basic viewpoints, and guiding concepts, namely the holistic concept. 3. Based on the scientific methodology and guiding principle, the core content of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine is the physiology and pathology of the Zhangfu organs and meridians. 4. Its distinguishing feature from Western medicine is syndrome differentiation and treatment. The theoretical system of Chinese medicine is composed of these four elements. Next, we mentioned that the theoretical system of Chinese medicine is built on ancient Chinese philosophies of Kai, Yin, Yang, and the five elements as its scientific view and methodology. These philosophies are ancient Chinese philosophical thoughts. Since Chinese medicine is a medicine formed against the backdrop of traditional Chinese culture, it is necessary to understand the relationship between traditional Chinese culture and Chinese medicine. Topic 2. We will discuss traditional Chinese culture. First, let's talk about the characteristics of traditional Chinese culture. Understanding culture and tradition. Up to now, there are two widely accepted definitions of culture in academia, a broad definition and a narrow definition. The broad definition of culture refers to the combined material and spiritual productive capacities and the material and spiritual wealth created by humans in the course of social practice. Simply put, culture refers to both capacities and wealth, encompassing the productive capacities acquired by humans in the process of production and practice, as well as the material and spiritual wealth resulting from these capacities. Correspondingly, the narrow definition of culture refers solely to spiritual productive capacities and spiritual products, encompassing all forms of social consciousness known today, such as natural sciences, social sciences, and technical sciences.
Tradition refers to the ideological culture, ethics, styles, skills, arts, and behaviors passed down through history. It's important to note that tradition does not solely refer to ancient things. Our modern society also has traditions, as long as they are inherited from history. Traditions encompass people's thoughts, consciousness, methods, behaviors, and more.
Second, let's talk about traditional Chinese culture.
According to the general consensus in historiography, traditional Chinese culture refers to the culture of China's slave society and feudal society from the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties to the Opium War. Some scholars believe that this period should extend to before the May 4th movement. The culture inherited during this period constitutes traditional Chinese culture.
What is the basic spirit of traditional Chinese culture?
It can be summarized with three characters: harmony, integration, and inheritance.
Specifically in dealing with the relationship between humans and nature, traditional Chinese culture emphasizes the harmony between man and nature. In emphasizing the relationship between humans and society, it emphasizes interpersonal harmony. In other words, the core spirit of traditional Chinese culture emphasizes the integration of heaven, earth, and humans, culminating in the concept of harmony.
This idea is fully embodied in Chinese medicine. How is this core cultural spirit manifested in specific characteristics?
First, it manifests as a holistic nature. Traditional Chinese culture views the universe as a harmonious whole of heaven and man. Therefore, it is adept at recognizing things and the world as a whole, grasping the connections between things, and possessing a strong sense of wholeness.
This holistic concept of Chinese culture is also the origin of the holistic concept in Chinese medicine.
Second, it manifests as a humanistic nature.
Traditional Chinese culture places great emphasis on ethics and morality, which permeate various cultural forms such as philosophy, religion, culture, and art. In other words, traditional ethical and moral thoughts occupy a very important position in traditional Chinese culture, with self-cultivation, family harmony, country governance, and world peace serving as the fundamental principles of Chinese ethics and traditional culture, among which self-cultivation is paramount. The humanistic nature of traditional Chinese culture is prominently manifested in its emphasis on individuals cultivating themselves to become noble-minded individuals. This humanistic thought has nurtured the noble qualities of our Chinese nation, such as being proactive, persevering, selfless, respecting the elderly, and caring for the young. This humanistic nature is reflected in Chinese medicine, which emphasizes people orientation and that medicine is a humane art, distinguishing it from Western medicine. Chinese medicine views patients as individuals with illnesses rather than focusing solely on their illnesses, which is a fundamental difference in medical views between Chinese and Western medicine, influenced by traditional Chinese humanistic thought. Third, it manifests as inheritance. Traditional Chinese culture places great importance on inheriting traditions. Since the beginning of culture, China has always emphasized the continuation of the intellectual tradition and inheritance. For thousands of years, traditional Chinese culture has adopted the method of classical studies for self-cultivation, ensuring the continuous inheritance and transmission of Chinese culture. Its characteristic is to use the classics of the pre-Qin period as the criterion for judging right and wrong. This idea of inheritance is also reflected in Chinese medicine, which emphasizes classical works in its academic thoughts.
Classical works occupy a special and important position in the development of Chinese medicine and the cultivation of traditional Chinese medicine talents. While this inheritance has its shortcomings, such as overly emphasizing classical works and restraining scientific critical thinking, its main advantage is preserving and continuing Chinese culture for thousands of years, making it an important part of the world's cultural heritage. Chinese medicine is an essential component of traditional Chinese culture, penetrating the basic spirit and characteristics of traditional Chinese culture from theory to practice.
Topic 2. Let's discuss the cultural characteristics of Chinese medicine.
1. It manifests as a holistic view integrating heaven, earth, and humans.
As mentioned earlier, The guiding principle of Chinese medicine is the holistic concept, which originates from Chinese cultural characteristics.
Chinese culture emphasizes the integration of heaven, earth, and humans, recognizing things as a whole.
Specifically, in Chinese medicine, this is manifested in two ways. First, Chinese medicine views humans as social and biological beings, not merely as biological entities with biological attributes, but more importantly, as possessing social attributes, considering humans within the context of nature.
Chinese medicine states that the heavens cover and the earth sustains, all things migrate, and none are more important than humans, and that a physician should know astronomy above, human affairs in the middle, and geography below to be considered a true physician.
This viewpoint is influenced by the holistic view of Chinese culture, which considers humans as a unified whole possessing both social and natural attributes, determined by the Chinese cultural concept of harmony between man and nature.
Second, as biological beings, Chinese medicine emphasizes the unity of form and spirit.
The concepts of form and spirit originate from ancient Chinese philosophy, where form
Refers to structure and physique,
and spirit refers to function. For humans, the emphasis on the unity of form and spirit signifies the integration of physique and life phenomena, or structure and function. Combining these 2 points forms the holistic view of Chinese medicine, which connects humans with nature and society, constituting a complete organic whole.
This viewpoint serves as the medical model of Chinese medicine, distinct from the biomedical model of Western medicine. Since the formation of Chinese medical theories in the inner canon of medicine, this medical model has been established.
It was not until the mid-20th century that Western medicine gradually recognized that humans possess not only biological attributes, but also social attributes, emphasizing the biopsychosocial medical model. Due to its unique viewpoint and medical model, Chinese medicine represents the trend of modern medical development. It not only has its own value, but will also make significant contributions to the development of life sciences and modern medicine. 2. It emphasizes the medical ethics of people orientation, considering human life as paramount. Chinese medicine places great emphasis on the values of human life and health. It emphasizes that among the integration of heaven, earth, and humans are the most important. This viewpoint is most prominently expressed in great medical sincerity, which has become the core idea of Chinese medical ethics. Specifically, because nothing in heaven and earth is more important than humans, the inner canon of medicine repeatedly emphasizes the integration of heaven, earth, and humans, and the most precious aspect of humans is life. Therefore, Zhu Dangxi stated, human life is paramount and valuable beyond 1,000 pieces of gold.
Starting from this point, Chinese medicine emphasizes people orientation.
The spirit of traditional Chinese culture embodies the importance of ethical and moral cultivation.
This thought is reflected in Chinese medicine, establishing a people-oriented medical ethics. Based on this idea, Chinese medicine has formed its own scientific ethics. The development of any science is not only influenced by its own forming conditions, but also by the social environment, among which ethical morals have the greatest impact on scientific development.
In other words, scientific ethical norms play a crucial role. Chinese medicine emphasizes the integration of heaven, earth, and humans' people orientation, and the value of human life. It takes protecting human health, reducing illness, and pursuing longevity as the core of its scientific ethics.
Therefore, Chinese medicine emphasizes that medicine is a humane art.
It requires physicians to disregard fame and wealth, immerse themselves in medical studies, and possess empathy and love for others.
These are the manifestations of Chinese cultural characteristics in Chinese medicine.
However, from a modern perspective, the ultimate goal of medicine is not merely to reduce and prevent illnesses, but to ensure human health.
Chinese medicine has emphasized protecting human health as its supreme goal since its inception. It was not until recently that modern medicine proposed this goal.
As we know, the World Health Organization's goal for the 21st century is health.
Currently, the ultimate goal of medicine is to safeguard human health. 3.
It holds a constant motion view of yin-yang balance and the interaction between movement and stillness. Simply put, the Chinese cultural viewpoint of motion is reflected in medicine, forming the Chinese medical view of life, motion, health, and illness changes from a perspective of motion and change.
Traditional Chinese medicine, as represented by Chinese medicine, uses Qi, Yin, Yang, and the 5 elements as its scientific methodology.
Chinese medicine believes that the origin of life is Qi, the fundamental substance of the world.
Through the movement of Qi transformation, the material world and life are formed.
The fundamental reason for the movement of Qi is the internal motion of Yin and Yang, manifesting as the division of Qi into 2 parts, Yin Qi and Yang Qi. The movement of yin kai and yang kai constitutes the motion of life.
Philosophically, traditional Chinese philosophy emphasizes that the world is a world in motion with kai as its origin.
The fundamental reason for motion is the contradiction between yin and yang, known as the opposition of yin and yang, which permeates all processes in the universe.
Traditional Chinese culture believes that yin and yang are the general laws of motion.
Introducing this law into medicine, Chinese medicine believes that Qi constitutes and maintains the basic substance of human life activities and is the origin of life. The movement and transformation of Qi, known as Qi transformation, give rise to life.
Life is an organic whole of Qi transformation.
The normal and abnormal life processes, in medical terms, are divided into health, illness, and death.
There is also a state of subhealth. This process is the result of the motion of yin and yang.
What state of yin and yang motion represents health, illness, and death?
The inner canon of medicine states that when yin is peaceful and yang is secretive, there is yin-yang balance. Later medical experts proposed harmony of yin and yang and self-harmony of yin and yang. Zhu Zhentai's commentary on self-harmony of yin and yang explains that it signifies health, where yin and yang are in harmony.
This better embodies the core of traditional Chinese culture, which truly values harmony and the spirit of self-respect and harmony.
Yin-yang balance implies viewing the balanced state from the perspective of the movement of yin and yang kai, which is a state of harmony, i.e. health.
Once this balance is broken, yin-yang disharmony leads to illness.
Between yin-yang balance and disharmony, as they are in motion, there is a process of change. Although yin-yang disharmony disrupts the balance, it has not yet manifested as a typical illness, therefore it cannot be considered healthy or an illness.
This intermediate stage is now referred to as subhealth, which is a significant research topic in 21st century Chinese medical theory.
I hope students will contribute to this field.
As yin-yang disharmony progresses, the contradiction disappears, leading to the term separation of yin and yang.
In this state, the contradictory process of life motion ceases, and life ends, i.e. death. In other words, from birth to health, illness, and death, the process is always in a state of dynamic and balanced motion, constantly evolving. This viewpoint underscores that Chinese medicine views the life process and changes in health and illness from a dynamic perspective, which is evident in clinical medical practice. When Chinese medicine examines any illness, it does not diagnose and determine the syndrome or illness once and for all. This differs from Western medicine, which once a diagnosis is made according to standards, considers the treatment plan static and unchanged. Chinese medicine, however, emphasizes constant examination and change, which is a crucial characteristic of Chinese medical thinking.
4.
Its prevention concept is the prevention of disease before its onset and the prevention of deterioration once ill.
In other words, Chinese medicine emphasizes the prevention of disease before it occurs rather than treating it after it arises.
Specifically, even in a state of yin-yang balance, Chinese medicine emphasizes the importance of taking precautions to maintain health and prevent the disruption of yin-yang balance. Chinese medicine retains systematic theories and rich practical experiences in this regard. The current study of health preservation has now become an independent discipline, originally part of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. This medical idea is unique to Chinese medicine, premised on protecting health and pursuing longevity.
Once an illness occurs, Chinese medicine emphasizes controlling its progression in a timely manner.
In the treatment process, interceptive therapy can be adopted to prevent the illness from progressing to the next stage. The core idea here reflects the characteristics of Chinese culture, particularly its sense of foreboding, which is also reflected in Chinese medicine in its approach to preventing and treating illnesses. Topic 3. Earlier, we discussed two topics. First, what is Chinese medicine and its theoretical system? Second, the relationship between traditional Chinese culture and Chinese medicine. In summary, Chinese medicine is a medicine formed against the backdrop of traditional Chinese culture. This third topic will specifically address the formation and development of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. First, the formation of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. Conditions to the formation of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. 1. Scientific methodology. We mentioned earlier that it has a scientific methodology, which serves as the philosophical foundation of Chinese medicine. In modern scientific philosophical terms, the philosophical foundation of Chinese medicine is its scientific philosophy. The ancient Chinese philosophies that have had the greatest influence on Chinese medicine are first, Kai theory or Kai monism, second, the theory of yin and yang, third, the theory of the five elements. The formation and development of any science cannot be separated from the guidance and support of philosophical thought. In other words, it cannot be separated from the scientific methodology that constructs its theoretical system. During the period of the formation of Chinese medicine in the pre-Qin and Han dynasties, traditional Chinese philosophy was highly developed. Representative philosophies included Kai theory, also known as Kai monism, followed by the theories of yin and yang and the five elements. Kai theory. The theories of yin and yang and the five elements are the most basic categories and theories of traditional Chinese philosophy, forming the philosophical basis for the unique thinking patterns and cultural concepts of the Chinese nation. Chinese medicine employs Kai monism, the theories of yin and yang, and the five elements as its scientific view and methodology for constructing its theoretical system. It uses these basic categories and concepts of ancient Chinese philosophy to summarize the long-accumulated medical practical experience and biological scientific knowledge before the Qin and Han dynasties, forming the basic concepts, theories, and principles of this discipline and constructing its theoretical system. Therefore, the Kai, Yin, Yang, and five elements in Chinese medicine are both connected to and distinct from their counterparts in ancient Chinese philosophy.
Ancient Chinese philosophies Kai, Yin, Yang, and five elements elucidate natural and social issues from a philosophical perspective, also addressing human and life issues.
Chinese medicine's Kai, Yin, Yang, and five elements, on the other hand, utilize the basic categories and terminologies of ancient Chinese philosophy and its way of thinking to address issues related to life, health, and illness. As a result, Kai, Yin, Yang, and five elements in Chinese medicine become essential components of its theoretical system. However, Chinese medicine is a traditional medicine belonging to the period of ancient traditional science, also known as natural philosophy. Under such conditions, each science had not yet fully established its independent scientific concepts, terminologies, and principles, especially scientific concepts. It was common to use philosophical concepts and terminologies to explain disciplinary issues, which was a crucial characteristic of traditional science. This was true in China and abroad. If you have the opportunity in the future, you can study the history of Western medicine and compare it with ancient Greek medicine, which is similar to that of China. Kai, Yin, Yang, and the five elements form both the philosophical foundation and an important part of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. They are connected to and distinct from ancient philosophical thoughts on Kai, Yin, Yang, and the five elements. This is also a difficult point in studying Chinese medical theories.
2.
Natural and social sciences, in addition to constructing its theoretical system and utilizing the philosophical thoughts of the Chinese nation as its scientific methodology, any science, including Chinese medicine, must also have foundations in natural and social sciences. During the Qin and Han dynasties, natural science also achieved remarkable accomplishments such as astronomy, meteorology, phenology, and agronomy. Among them, anatomy had a significant impact on Chinese medicine. The inner canon of medicine and the difficult classic contained descriptions of the morphology, size, and location of organs like the heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys, large intestine, small intestine, and bladder, which are very similar to modern anatomy, especially regarding digestive organs. The inner canon of medicine is recognized worldwide as the earliest anatomical work. As any medicine that studies humans must consider human morphology, it must have a morphological basis for explaining life phenomena. The achievements in anatomy during the Qin and Han dynasties provided a morphological foundation for the establishment of the theoretical system of Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine also involves astronomy, meteorology, geography, phenology, mathematics, and many other disciplines, all of which contribute to the construction of the medical system by fully absorbing the accomplishments of natural science during the Qin and Han dynasties.
3.
Social science achievements. The influence of social sciences on medicine is significant. Chinese medicine emphasizes the integration of heaven, earth, and humans, encompassing not only nature, but also society. Today, the development of any science requires a social environment, including political and economic systems, literature, and art, which all profoundly impact each discipline. During the Qin and Han dynasties, the hundred schools of thought contended, and various academic thoughts flourished, providing a favorable social environment for the formation of Chinese medicine, especially in terms of humanistic thought. Several viewpoints had a significant impact on Chinese medicine. First is the harmony between man and nature. It's important to note that harmony between man and nature is not a term unique to Chinese medicine, but a fundamental category of ancient Chinese philosophy and social science. Even today, when studying environmental science, Western scientists have rediscovered the scientific nature of the Chinese concept of the integration of heaven, earth, and humans, emphasizing human-centeredness. This term
though concise, scientifically elucidates the relationship between society, nature, and humans, as well as their impact on scientific development. The idea of harmony between man and nature is a basic category in thought of traditional Chinese culture and social science, which has influenced medicine. Chinese medicine emphasizes harmony between man and nature. The core idea here, as mentioned earlier, is the scientific ethical norm that Chinese medicine emphasizes people orientation. It underscores that medicine is a humane art, and physicians must care for others and disregard fame and wealth.
This thought originates from traditional Chinese cultural and social ideas that have influenced Chinese medicine.
The aforementioned Kai Yin Yang and 5 elements form the natural view, scientific view, and methodology of Chinese medicine.
Natural sciences provide a biological basis for Chinese medicine to understand life, motion, and health and illness. It's crucial to note that in the past, some people believed that Chinese medicine lacked a morphological basis. Without a morphological basis, studying diseases and humans would be purely speculative, devoid of practical solutions. However, Chinese medicine is built on achievements in ancient biology, particularly anatomy.
Although the Zhang and Fu organs, heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys, and modern anatomy share the same names, their meanings differ, influenced by Chinese culture and thinking.
In addition to a biological basis, the humanities also provide favorable conditions for the formation of Chinese medicine, particularly the ideas of harmony between man and nature and people orientation, which establish a scientific ethical norm for Chinese medicine, ensuring its healthy development. Since its inception, Chinese medicine has emphasized people orientation, respected human life, and regarded safeguarding human health as its ultimate goal, distinct from Western medicine.
These formation conditions shape the academic thoughts of Chinese medicine and its evolution.
Students should understand that the inner canon of medicine laid the foundation for medicine, outlining the rudimentary framework of basic concepts and theories. The difficult classic supplemented the deficiencies of the inner canon of medicine. How were the theories constructed in the inner canon of medicine and the difficult classic applied in practice? Zhang Zhongjing's treatise on cold damage and miscellaneous diseases utilized the theories of the inner canon of medicine to address illnesses, while the Shen Nong's Materia Medica provided the means, marking an important work in the history of Chinese pharmacology. It not only discussed several hundred herbs, but also proposed the first classification method based on efficacy, establishing the classification of superior, middle, and inferior grades. Furthermore, it introduced the theories of the 4 natures, 5 flavors, and 7 actions of Chinese Materia Medica.
Together, these classic works formed the basic theoretical systems of medicine and pharmacology.
Next, let's discuss the criteria for formation.
This section is challenging.
By understanding the formation conditions, students can appreciate the scientific nature of Chinese medicine.
The recognition of Kai Yin, Yang, and 5 elements as the material nature of the world and life and their motion forms the systematic, holistic, and dialectical scientific thinking of Chinese medicine, establishing its scientific foundation and greatness now recognized as a world heritage.
Secondly, natural and social sciences, particularly anatomy and natural sciences, provide a morphological basis for the formation of Chinese medicine, dispelling misconceptions that Chinese medicine lacks anatomy and is purely speculative.
Thirdly, Chinese medicine emphasizes people orientation and respect for human life, distinguishing it from Western medicine. These formation conditions shape the academic thoughts of Chinese medicine and its evolution of ideas.
Understanding that the inner canon of medicine laid the foundation for medicine is crucial.
It outlined the rudimentary framework, basic concepts, and theories. The combination of these classic works formed the basic theoretical systems of medicine and pharmacology.
That concludes our lesson for today.
The key points covered today are: what is Chinese medicine? What is the theoretical system of Chinese medicine? What are the cultural characteristics of Chinese medicine and its relationship with traditional Chinese culture?
Based on this understanding, we will explore the conditions for the formation of Chinese medicine and comprehend the evolution of its academic thoughts.
Thank you, class.